teaching, they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. In this digital age, we got them online. No need to travel, no waiting in line. From the comfort of home, our passion tastes light. Brain we divide us, but our heart bars are right. Can't attend live, don't let it dismay. Place on the way, just a click, no delay. Curicon, the future's awesome. We're riding teaching, they both belong. Join the conference, it's gonna be lit. Curipod fam, you don't wanna miss it. So spread the word, let the assignment unfold. Curicon's the place for teachers, it's all one. In the rhyme of right, together we'll find. Our Curicon, let make the future come alive. Awesome. We're riding GG, they both belong. Join the
Welcome, educators and book enthusiasts. We are at day 5, session 5 of Curicon. I'm Amanda Fox, your host, and join us as we welcome Shelley Emslie, an expert in the realm of picture books and education. In this session, Shelley will unveil a world of possibilities, showing you how to harness the power of Curipod to amplify the educational impact of picture books. So picture this: turning beloved stories into dynamic educational tools that engage young learners, fostering not just literacy, but a genuine love for reading. I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. We have been running a little bit behind. We've been stacked. So Shelley, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. And for those of you just joining us, welcome. It has been an unbelievable Curicon, and I've been catching up on the YouTube videos, and it is absolutely mind-blowing, the talent out there and what people are doing with Curicon and Curipod. It's unbelievable.
The speakers have been all amazing. And just to reiterate, like, we would not be able to do this without you and the other amazing speakers who have dedicated their time, their expertise, and their voice to Curicon. So thank you from the bottom of our orange hearts. And
I know, orange, go Curicon.
Yeah, go orange. Woo. We have Elizabeth joining us, Beth Pope. Hi from Georgia, which I get to meet her next week. I'm so excited for GAETC. Eric's joining us from Norway. And we've got our last session closing out, and we're hoping everyone kind of shifts over into this one. But I'm going to go ahead and cue up your slides so you can kind of get started and dig into bringing stories to life and integrating Curipod with picture books.
Okay, so as she said, and yes, that's what we're talking about, the little messages. So I told you it was going to come up. So my name is...
I didn't see it. We didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't go?
Nope.
I just went to the other tab.
No, we see your presentation, but there's no notifications coming across the screen.
Oh, so. Good. You didn't see them. Okay. I was like,
no.
Oh no, because my daughter. All right. But you see my presentation. All right.
Yes,
fantastic.
Presentation. Hollis says they've been waiting for this one. We've got Jolene from Fargo.
All right.
Let's know where Hollis is from again. All right.
Okay. So my name is Shelley Emslie, as you guys know, and I teach 5th grade in Big Fork, Montana. I have been teaching for 25 years, long time. I don't know how that happened. And I came across Curipod recently, last year, and then had the privilege of talking with Eric and learning more about Curipod. And then I was like, okay, I can so use this in my classroom. And our school also signed up for the accelerator program. So any schools out there and teachers, like, I highly recommend that program. It is unbelievable. So I'm a pretty simple girl in Montana, and this is my family, my dad and my husband, and in the middle are my kids. I just got to go to San Diego last week and visit them. My son is a mechanical engineer, and so he's living in San Diego now, which is fantastic. My dog, Reggie, is my absolute love, and I live on Swan Lake, and I love to bake. So, and I cold plunge. I should probably move to Norway if I really need to do that, but our lake is cold enough. And funny fact, it was 18 degrees here this morning, which is and snowing, so I'm not ready for that.
I'm going to pop up and tag on that. So we went to a cabin in Hemsdale. It was snowing, and there was a sauna, and they went from the sauna like Eskild, Jens, the whole. Not me, Georgia girl here.
No,
I'm not going in that water. They all went in and jumped into the freezing fjord water, did a dip and popped out. And I'm just like, I don't get this.
I know. But I'm telling you, once you start cold plunging, it's unbelievable. I don't know how, because I do not like the snow, but I love cold plunging. So I'm going to say try it next time.
Lexi's on the chat. She's one of the ones who, she's done it. Where were you in Finland, Lexi? She was in Finland. There's pictures of her literally sitting in a lake covered by ice with a hole in it where she's just like lounging in the ice hole.
I love it. That's so great. Yeah.
And Lexi's going to be at GATC, so make sure you pop in and say hi to her. I'm going to pop back down now and give you the show.
Okay. Love it. So that's really me in a nutshell. And you guys will find out that I get a little excited. So Amanda, you have to stop me, and I just start to kind of spiral. So if I go too fast or I'm saying too many things at once, just, give me a timeout signal. That's what my colleagues do, because I tend to get really excited. So, all right. Because it's Friday of Curicon and I've been watching the YouTube videos, it's unbelievable what people are doing out there with Curipod. And I'm so impressed with everybody. And to be completely honest, like little heart palpitations before I was doing this, because the bar is set really high, and I'm an in-person presenter. So presenting online is not my gig, but I'm going to do my best to get my point across and show you guys how to use picture books with Curipod. So we are going to actually join a Curipod, and I'm going to turn this down a little. So there it is up on the screen. And let's get some people in. And while we're waiting, I will say, in my classroom, I have exercise balls instead of chairs. And when this little song comes up, my kids are constantly bouncing on the exercise balls. It's hilarious. No other teacher can handle it. They don't know how I do what I do with the exercise ball within a seat, I say. All right, so we have Thriving Sea and Rolling Beach coming in. And then Amanda, you just let me know if you think like 5, 6, tell me a number or when we should stop and then move on. And I wish, Amanda, you can pop something up. What has been other participants' favorite session so far? I wonder what they have liked. I watched the one on Canva and my mind was blown. And I love these names. Silly Parrot, Rolling Lamp, Eating President. Okay. I teach 5th grade, and I also teach middle school art and technology. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my kids go to math in another room, and then I teach art. And then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, I get to see the technology side of things and tech. So I love it. I get a little dose of junior high, but only one period a day. That's all I can handle. All right. Give me a thumbs up. Well, more coming in. And Okay, Amanda, let me know if we should just go for it. All right. We're going to start. So like I said, because it's Friday of Curicon, I'm not going to go through all the features, and I will just start. So have you ever used picture books with Curipod in the past? Just curious. Let's see. And just so you know, after watching the Canva one, this background was actually in Canva, and then I brought it into Curipod, and it's kind of mind-blowing now for images and backgrounds. Okay, here we go. No and yes. Okay, so this is great. Nobody's used it. So we're going to learn a lot today. Here we go. Now this one, if you haven't used it, it might be a little difficult, but what challenges do you think you might face when you are trying to use picture books in Curipod? Just so I can kind of get an idea, and being able to add GIFs into, sorry, I say GIFs, not GIFs, into Curipod is super fun. So let's talk about what challenges you might face. I know for me, when I'm doing picture books, I don't think you're ever too old to have a good picture book. So nobody's too old for a picture book. So don't ever think that, oh, I teach high school or I teach middle school, I can't read a picture book. You absolutely can. And I have done some of this with my middle school art class as well. But the examples I'm giving you today are 5th grade. And then I put some features inside the Curipod that kind of would help you do it for a younger grade as well. So, but I'm going to target 5th grade. All right. Anybody into Shark Week? I don't know about you guys, but we had Red Ribbon Week, we had Spirit Week, and we have Halloween next Tuesday. So I'm just kind of going a little crazy, and it is Friday, and I'm over this week. It was like the world's longest day. Okay. I don't know if everybody's replied, but we're just, for time's sake, we're just going to stop where we're at unless somebody wants me to wait. And this is the other part when you're teaching in class and you can look around the classroom, and sometimes the kids, will finish and submit. And you can just judge it better than you can online. So sorry. All right, here we go. We're going to skip voting for this one, but let's see. Uploading in ESL classes, prior knowledge and vocabulary and grammar levels. That is a big yes, I understand that. And then I will show you a little pro tip that I have later on in the show, how I kind of differentiate with the levels. Because that is definitely, even in my class, I have a reader at 1st grade and I have a reader at 7th grade. So trying to navigate that, hopefully my little tip will help you with that. Which of the COD slides could be best to pair with? Okay. Maybe hard to see details on the screen. Yes. Books are 3D and tactile. Absolutely. And no idea. Good. Adjusting the size of the text and finding one with content I'm doing for science. Ooh, we have stuff for all of this. This is so fantastic. Okay. So we are going to really hit on a lot of that. So I'm just going to keep going. This is awesome. And actually, I'm going to skip this one for now. And so this is how I start. I just wanted to start from the beginning because sometimes that is all you need is that, okay, where do I start? So the first thing I do is I pick a book, and some of my favorites on here, Oddbird, What Do You Do with a Problem, and Edward the Emu. But for my science people, when I say picture book, I mean you could use a book like this that is science oriented and go through and pick out the information that you need versus reading this whole entire book. So sometimes you might just do a section of a book. You don't have to do the whole book. For my math people, I have math books. For my sports kids, I have a bunch of boys in this class that are really into sports. And so I try to find books that are going to be relevant to them. So when somebody said they're 3D, yes, they're 3D. And I love to actually open the book and read it to the kids. So part of this is I read the book and interact with the Curipod. So let's go here. My step 2 is I decide what's my focus? Am I just going to work on vocabulary? If that's the case, then I'm going to take, say it was my science, and I'm going to work on my science vocabulary. So I may have read the story at another time, and then we're just going to go back and work on vocabulary. Maybe it's social emotional. And for that, I would use something like Clovis Keeps His Cool. And this book is hilarious, about a bull in a china shop, literally a bull in a china shop. So lots of figurative language and lots of ideas, but it gives kids coping skills on how to deal with people teasing them and different ideas and strategies. So that's an excellent book. And then Harold Loves His Woolly Hat. And in this one, again, I might be working on collaboration because in this, the crow steals his hat and he's trying to get it back. So he's giving him his keys. He's giving him all these other things, trying to get his hat back. So that I may do a collaboration activity, and then the kids work in pairs. You know, how would you get your hat back? What would you do? Or if you had to design something to get your hat back from the crow, what would it be? So I literally, a picture book can become anything you need it to be. Critical thinking, Birdie Wings It is a great one for that because he designs different sets of wings, and this could actually be a fantastic STEM and science one where they have to design different wings, and it goes through the whole engineering process, and it's super fun and it's perseverance. But again, you could go back to vocabulary, you could go back to social emotional, you could go back to comprehension and connections to text. So these are my main focuses that when I look at the book, I go, okay, what do I want the kids to get out of this? Sometimes I am just focusing on one, and then other times I focus on a multitude of concepts. So, and step 3, I just head over to Curipod, I create, and sometimes I type in the name of my book, and that is what I did with Edward the Emu. And this book, as you can see, it's like torn off from my puppy and stuff. I've had this book forever. Edward the Emu is fantastic. And you can just type it, your book title, in Curipod, and then it has activities, and you can choose to use those activities and those slides and then add to them or make your own. So for mine, I went into Curipod and I kind of did both, and we'll go through that. But this is my other pro tip. We talked about those levels, and a lot of the time I have kids who cannot type well, or type as fast as the other ones. So a lot of the times I have my kids open a doc and we are typing in there, and I'm adding more time so that they can copy and paste, so that if they weren't paying attention and didn't hear the timer, or me, talk to them, then they always have a copy of their work. The other thing I do is I make, with all the time that I save with Curipod and AI, creating the majority of my lessons and my questions, I then go in and make these. I don't like calling them worksheets, because they're just little enhancements that I use for kids who need it. And the kids that don't need it, they still have it at their desk, but they don't need the sentence starters. So, for example, with Edward the Emu, like I have this worksheet, and then they listen to me read Edward the Emu, and then we go through the Curipod deck in a different, I'm trying to say, like a different pace. So on slide 2, I want them to use the sentence starter. Based on the front cover, I can infer this book will be about. So they already have that, and they can type it and just copy it. My other students that have it in their head, they don't need these sentence starters. They don't need this. But I try to give them little hints along the way, so that you're bringing up the others, and the ones that can soar and fly are just doing it at any rate. Slide 9, and I will share my Edward the Emu actual Curipod with you guys, but we ask about the personality traits and the physical characteristics. So we make this diagram here where it's like, think about the outside versus the inside. And so for some kids, they just need that visual. Over here, Edward the Emu, again, you give them the sentence starters. So if somebody, I think we were talking about science and vocabulary, and that's really intense, and that's hard to just see it on a Curipod and know it. But if you have the vocabulary for them on a piece of paper and they're interacting with it, I am not. My goal with these Curipods is to enhance their learning and empower them. So I'm not trying to test them. I'm trying to get them to interact with the Curipod and the book and the material. So this is another big pro tip. You have your kids that finish first or fast, I guess, and then you have some that are still typing. And so this gives the kids something to do while they're waiting to finish, because what I can't stand is when this, they're done typing and they submit, and that might not have been the best answer, but they submitted quickly. Then I like to have them do an activity that they also turn in at the end of the Curipod, so that I know they're accountable for this. So for this one, I just said, draw a picture of a habitat you think Edward would go to. Now, a feature that Curipod has that I absolutely love is Curify my slides. So I took my Edward the Emu, and I had some slides, and I took these two in here. And ironically, they came up with create an original sketch of 2 additional habitats for Edward the Emu to visit if he escapes again. So it was super fun. And sorry for the crazy GIF, but yeah. It was super fun to watch Curipod kind of take my ideas and go with it. And then this is the other trick that I wanted to show you guys. When you're doing a poll, like if you're teaching the younger kids, you do not have to always use words. So like, is this something you see yourself using? So I'm sorry, I'm a big Niall Horan fan. Yes, absolutely. No. And this guy's shaking his head. No. So visually, younger kids can see, and you can add emojis. You don't always have to use words. So for the lower grades, you can use that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end this lesson for a second because I want to start my Edward the Emu, and I'm just going to pause also because I've talked a lot and I want to see if there are any questions. Might have to join another one. And Amanda, how are we doing? So if you guys would join this Curipod real quickly, and I will just show you. And I won't have us do all of the activities. I'm just going to breeze through this to show you what I did with Edward the Emu. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, we are going to go ahead and start. I was on the last one, sorry. Okay, so that was really fast. This is what I do with my students is I talk about we're going to go through slides 1 through 4, and then I will read the book to them. So we go here and we talk about, based on the front cover, what can you infer this book will be about? And inference is a really good skill for the kids to learn, so we won't do that. Then on the did you know, I love to have the kids interact, and so I ask for volunteers, and then the kids read the facts as we go. And then I always like to tell them where I'm going with this. What do I want you to focus on while you're listening to the book? So for this one, comprehension, plot, and theme, we really focused on the theme and the message of this. And what is the theme of the story? For this one, I use the personalized, the feedback. And if you guys are not using this yet, it is absolutely amazing. And I have my kids, like I said, type it in a Google Doc, copy and paste it into Curipod, just because if something happens and they lose it, then we always have it on the doc. And then I have the kids respond to their feedback in the Google Doc. And it is absolutely amazing to watch the kids say, I agree with the feedback because, or I don't agree with the feedback because. And it's an absolute, oh, you guys have to use it. It's fascinating. So then we do some, word walls, and we talk about Edward, and then we do another did you know? So again, and of course the brain break and the drawing, oh my gosh, absolutely hilarious. And we do the voting on this. And the other, and I know I'm running out of time, but the other biggest thing that I love about Curipod is it levels the playing field, because even my kids who can't answer up to this ability with some of these questions, we get the opportunity when we're going over the answers, because it's anonymous, we get the ability to, they're exposed to the higher end answers, if you will. And so they may have not put that, but they're being exposed to these answers, which is just fascinating. Love it. We talked about personality traits, and that's where the worksheet comes into play, where, if they don't know what that is, then you already drew a diagram for them. And opinion, would you have left your cage like Edward? And this was big, because this can go into opinion writing and all like you can go down the rabbit hole with this. Should emus be kept in a zoo? And it was pretty interesting what the kids would say. I did a poll, and then I asked if anybody was brave enough to stand up and say, I agree, or I think emus should be kept in a zoo because, or I don't think they should because. So we're working on complete sentences. Can you tell? Draw a picture of your favorite scene from the book, and then I end the lesson. So I know that was really quick, and sorry, but
Oh, it was
yeah.
brilliant. No, this is an amazing take. And any of you who use Novel Effect, you can actually pull in. You can do a read aloud and listen with the animated effects, and then ask about the music and the sound effects and embed those in too. But like what you've done with picture books is absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate that insight. And I'm excited to share this with my kids' elementary school teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and we're gonna
absolutely fun. Like I said, I mean, like I live in picture books, and you can make them relevant to any lesson you're doing.
yes, and we had a question about high school. So I taught an advanced film class, and the Fantastic Flying Books of Mr. Morris Lesmore are about like everyone's story is important and everyone has a story to tell. But there's a Oscar award-winning film, this a silent film that has the figurative language and action, and then the figurative language in the book. So doing a compare contrast of like what it looked like in the film versus the book, and how do you illustrate figurative language? Like the grass is greener on the other side, having that illustrated and then seeing that in the words. So
yeah, and like this one is just the vocabulary and the richness. I mean, so you can literally find, and this is another really higher level one that is fantastic for high school. So you can take it as high or as low as you need.
And Hollis just said picture books are a great way to teach high school students about storytelling, storyboarding, nuance, inferences, even theme. Like when we take complex concepts and we reduce them to a storybook, it's easier to pull out those higher level thinking skills from a lower level text. So giving a high school student a lower level text isn't reducing the cognitive ability as long as we're asking students to hit on those skills that are higher level thinking.
Yes, could not have said it better myself. That is spot on.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
everyone,
you.
go ahead, tune out, switch over to our next session, our final session with Christy Cloud. She's closing us out. And do not forget that we are announcing our winners right after her session for our bingo cards, which we've had some bingo card chat. I've scoured Twitter. I've tried to use Curicon prize and Curicon. I've screenshotted them. I put you in for the winning. We have a magic curiosity wheel that's going to spin. And Shelley, you've been amazing. We're talking more hours. So
yeah. All right, guys. Take care.
All right.